My name is Heidi. I'm an addict.
Hey, Heidi.
First and foremost, I'd like to thank God for everything. I'd like to thank Him for a day clean. Just so nervous right now. It's not my first speaking at a convention, but that tells me that I'm getting ready to tell the truth on myself. So, I just like to clear up a few things and get housework out of the way. My clean date is August 30th, 1993. By God's grace and His mercy, I have 22 and a half years clean, relapse free. I don't say that to brag or boast. I say that if you come in here and do what you got to do, you can too do this without relapsing. Okay? Real simple. I live to use and I use to live. You know what I mean? I'm originally born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, Bed-Stuy. You know what I mean? From Brooklyn, New York, I moved to New Jersey, and from New Jersey, I moved to Pennsylvania, where I now relocate into Georgia. My home group is Just for the Day on the East End. I have a sponsor who has a sponsor who has a sponsor who has a sponsor, and that's how we roll. When I got here, like in the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous, I actually recovered in Newark, New Jersey. During that time, I had the opportunity to go into rehab, but I chose not to because I sent my husband because I thought that he had the problem, I didn't. You know what I mean? So I figured that, we both can't go at the same time because I was not going to be homeless. You know what I mean?
Right.
So he went. I still had a few more runs in me, so I ran and I ran and I ran and I ran. Until that last run whipped my ass thoroughly. You know what I mean? And I can remember, may God be pleased with her. My mom was still living then, you know what I mean? And I looked in the bathroom mirror and I no longer saw my reflection. You know what I mean? And I said, Mommy, help me. You know what I mean? And she said, you know what to do and you know who to go to. You know what I mean? And I just automatically dropped to my knees and I prayed. I didn't make no deals with God or nothing like that. I just said, I no longer see the person that I used to be. I need your help and I need your help right now. You know what I mean? So I immediately came into the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous and I hit the ground running. I got me a sponsor. I did the 90 on 90. If you needed anything, I would be in your back pocket because that's how I was rolling at that time. I was a newcomer. I came up in here. I wasn't brimming. I wasn't none of that. I was spiritually bankrupt. But when I got here, first thing I had to do, I had to stop. I had to stop using drugs. After I stopped, then I came to believe that something greater than myself was going to keep me, safe. But then I said, well, wait a minute, though. So many times, I believed in people, places, and things, and they didn't do me any good at all. So what I needed to do is I needed to identify what was going to keep me here. And once I got a God of my own understanding, I didn't name him no chair. I didn't name him no lamp. I knew who to go to. And that's what I did. I came in here, got busy right away, made my meetings, called my sponsor on a regular basis. I didn't have no feelings because my sponsor at the time told me you ain't have no feelings because drugs whipped your behind. So you don't have no feelings. You know what I mean? Now, we come up in here, we want to have some feelings. You know what I mean? I was told when I first got in here as a newcomer, shut up, sit down, and listen. It was real simple. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I did. I didn't like it all the time, but I did it. You know what I mean? I got commitments. I picked up, stuff off the floor. You know what I mean? Coffee maker. I got all different type of commitments. You know what I'm saying? But then some stuff began to really, really, really happen. Some deep stuff happened. I found out that drugs was only a symptom of my disease, Jeff. See, I found out that just because I was using and I was going to work every day, I was good to go. You know what I'm saying, T? I was good to go. But then I found out that what happened is that the drugs had robbed me of somebody that I really wanted to be. You know what I mean? But it was really, 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 really hard for me. You know what I mean? So like I said, I got in here, I stopped using, you know what I mean? And then some stuff began to happen. Because see, I'm gonna tell you something. You can't stay around this program and not do no work. I'm gonna tell you that. You know what I'm saying? So the sponsors that I had, they put me to work. You know what I mean? They didn't believe in using like the elevator. We used the steps, one by one, in the order which they was given. You know what I mean? But then something else happened. You know what I'm saying? The traditions. You know what I mean? Because I couldn't come up in here and just say any old type of things that I used to say. You know what I mean? Even today, for me being in the women's rap, it's real deep for me, because when I came in here, and I ain't like women. I'm going to tell you, I didn't like y'all, and I thought y'all was nasty. I thought y'all was grimy. I thought y'all wanted to get my man and everything like that. So I need to make that real plain. You know what I'm saying? But then what happened in here is that I began to meet some sisters in here, and they began to gravitate to me, and we began to do things together. You know what I mean? And then we became like a sisterhood. You know what I mean? And the sisters I got in my life, most of them I had in my life since I've been here. You know what I mean? And then when I came, and then what happened is that, some other things happened in here. Like, I always wanted to be a wife. I knew how to be a girlfriend. I knew how to be a jump off, but I didn't know how to be a wife. Because see, I thought that being a woman was just being just physically built. But see, when I got here, I found out there were some other things, you know what I mean, that went along with being a woman. You know what I mean? Some spiritual shit. You know what I mean? Some character. You know what I mean? Just by you laying down with somebody don't make you no woman. Okay, because animals do that. You know what I'm saying? But what I had to do is I had to really go on the inside and take a look at me. Take a look at my behavior. Because see, I come from a long list of women, especially my grandmother. I love her to death, but she always had a saying, there's a poor vet that ain't had another hole. And I used to say, well, Grandma, what are you talking about with that? She was like, you'll see. You know what I mean? So I began to watch the women that I idolized in my life. But what I found out is that they were living real foul.
Come on.
You know what I mean? Like, they had husbands, okay, but then they had, but then they was tipping to the left and they was tipping to the right. You know what I mean? Like, I come from a family of women who also had their share of battery. You know what I mean? Like, like my name is Heidi, but I'm actually named after my father. My father's name was Hiawatha. You know what I'm saying? This was a man like I idolized from the day I met him. I thought he couldn't do no wrong until I found out that he was a womanizer. He was a drug user. You know what I'm saying? He beat my mother. You know what I'm saying? And so what happens, like, when I grew up in this environment, what I always wanted a man like my father. And so what I did is I got a man like my father, okay, who beat me from sun up to sundown. But I thought that was love, y'all, you know what I'm saying? Because I thought that, that if he didn't beat me, he didn't love me. Tina Turner ain't had nothing on me. I had my own personal item. But then when I became, when I got tired of being sick and tired, like that last time when he threw me out of a window, then that was it for me. I was done. I was truly, truly, truly done. And then what happened is that, like I met the prince, or so I thought, I met the prince of my dreams, the love of my life. He was fine like that. You know what I'm saying? But he was crazy as hell too. He had some baggage, Samsonite, Louis, brown paper bag, your type of bag, whatever type of bag. We lived to use and we used to live together. And then we got married, so crazy do what crazy do. But then we both became, engrossed in this program called recovery. And then we began to recover. We began to be actually man and wife. And on February 15th of this year, we'll be celebrating 33 years married. But it ain't with incident though. It ain't with incident
That's
though.
Right. Come on.
It ain't with no incident, because he cheated, he lied, and all that. You know what I'm saying? So like a lot of people will say, well, damn, how come you didn't leave? He done cheated on you and all that stuff. He done slept with somebody. But the bottom line for me is that he didn't cheat on me. He cheated on the God of his understanding. Because see, I kept on rolling. Because see, that's something that he got to deal with the God of his understanding. I was good. I was free. You know what I mean? Because see, I already paid my price already. You know what I'm saying? Because see, I know from getting here, freedom ain't free. And some stuff that you got to do. You know what I'm saying? Because see, after I did 1, 2, and 3, that was nothing. 4, 5, 6 got me better.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Then when I got with the rest of them, then I got real then. You know what I mean? Because you're talking about getting, doing some serious stuff, some inventory and some stuff like that, and in the 4th step and just getting real with your sponsor and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, I don't know, I don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't, because I'm a type of person, I don't tell you all my business. I just don't. My father, told me, he was from the old school. Whatever you got to do out there, do what you got to do, but don't bring it home. Keep it outside. So I was always told, so I would say, okay, I do my little thing, but I kept it clean. I kept it clean and stuff like that. But in order for me to stay clean, I had to give my sponsor everything. And I wasn't afraid of where she took it. Mm-hmm. When I come in the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous, I share it. I don't care what you do with it, because see, after I give it away, I'm free. I don't care what you do with it, because most of the time, everybody in the rooms already know my story already. Mm-hmm. But one thing I can tell you, I ain't slept with nobody's husband. I wasn't no hoe in Narcotics Anonymous. I recovered straight up and down. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm true to this, y'all. This program saved my life. It saved my life. So I don't play with it. Because it was told to me when I first got here, a grateful addict will never use. And I'm grateful as hell. Grateful. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm blessed, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, like I just relocated here December 19th. I was blessed after 20 years to recover from to retire from a job I worked with for over 20 years. It ain't easy for me being retired either, because I be trying to do some stuff, you know what I'm saying? And I had to call my sponsor. She had to say, listen, baby girl, just slow down a little bit. It's okay. And last year was like a real deep year for me, because last year, I thought I would never walk again, y'all. I had a total left knee replacement. And I wanted to kill myself. Come on. Because the pain was just that great, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I really didn't want to have this surgery at all. I really didn't. But I couldn't walk without having some pain. And so I had it. And it rocked my world upside down. I wanted to jump out the window, because I couldn't sleep. I couldn't get no sleep. And my husband, he came to the rehab where I was at, for being, rehabilitated to learn how to walk again. You know what I'm saying? And he said, what's wrong? I said, I need some sleep. I can't sleep. I can't sleep. I developed an infection, so I had to have another procedure. Mm-hmm. You talking about like having a scar from your kneecap all the way down your leg. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And I was pissed, man. I'm like, why does this have to happen to me? You know what I'm saying? And then like one of my good friends in recovery said, why not you though? Mm-hmm. Why not you? Because see, at some point in recovery, the rubber gonna meet the road. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? All that good shit that I was sharing. You know what I'm saying? That's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the bottom line is that, like when I went and had my surgery, the doctor, the nurse, anesthesiologist, whoever put their hands on me, they know who I was. Please don't give me nothing that I don't need. You know what I'm saying? But see, what happened is that, from being here for a while, like I know, like if it is prescribed by a physician, not Heidi, but by a physician, a licensed physician, okay? We know that, we are some creative damn people up in here, okay? We can write our own prescriptions, okay? But there's a little pamphlet in here called Illness and Recovery. Mm-hmm. Read it. You know what I'm saying? And I read it, and I'm like, okay. But then it was like, I had to call my sponsor. And I had to say, you know what? I don't want to have this other one. She said, well, baby girl, you're going to have to be open. You know? And every time she say that open to me, I be wanting to ring her in her neck, man. You know what I'm saying? But you know what though? Open saved my life. Open got me through my surgery. It got me through rehab. It got me through like this last year at work because I was tired. I kept saying, I was like, look, I said, when is this year gonna be over, man? I'm ready to come down to Georgia. You know what I mean? Like I'm tired of paying 2 mortgages. I had a mortgage up in Pennsylvania, and I had a mortgage down here. You know, my husband's retired. He been retired for like 5 years. So I'm like, he's sitting on his behind, you know what I'm saying, chilling. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I'm tired. I'm tired. You know what I mean? And, you know, so again, ring-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding, I called my sponsor. She was like, listen, baby girl, real simple. The job is there to make money. That is their purpose, to make money. Your purpose as the employee is to go in there, do what you got to do, and make your money. When I did that, time rolled real fast. The next thing you know, I was having my retirement party. I was like, hey, time to go. Time to go. You know what I'm saying? And it was real crazy because like when I told my supervisor like that I was retiring, like he looked at me like I was crazy. See, I'm 54 years old. You know what I'm saying? My counterparts are saying, well, you're not old enough to have Social Security. I'm like, no. But I'm old enough to receive what my higher power got from me. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't have no worries. I wasn't scared to step out on faith. But I wasn't scared of that. You know what I mean? Because see, first of all, any type of worries I had, any type of inclinations I had for not making this move to Georgia, I was like, you know what? You know what, high power? Take this. You got this. It's okay. Because see, it's too heavy for me to carry. And that's what I do. Because see, when I give it to them, I don't pick it up. I don't. You know what I mean? Whatever happened, I rock and roll with it. You know, some things happened to me while I was in, you know, since I've been here. Both my parents are dead. My brother died. He was 45 years old. Because he just couldn't get this.
Okay.
Just couldn't get it. You know, but I was really, really happy that, you know, like my mom saw that I was okay when she left here. That I was the type of woman that she always wanted me to be. You know, I was able to show up for my mother. You know what I mean? Like my mother made me her power of attorney. I'm like, you sure you want to do that? I said, how much money you got? You know what I'm saying? And she was like, no, I trust you with my life. Today. Because it wasn't always like that with mommy. Me and mom used to fight like cats and dogs. Mommy tell me to go left, I go right. But she was the love of my life. You know, and before she died, I told her that it was a privilege to be her daughter, man. Everything that my mother told me came to pass. You know, and I remember like when she died in my house, I really didn't want to take her home. You know what I mean? Because see, sometimes I can be self-centered as well. That's another, you know, part of my disease, self-centeredness. And because I had built this beautiful home in Pennsylvania, you know what I'm saying, from the ground up. And I was like, you know what, I don't want my mother to die in my house. I don't want that. You know what I'm saying? And higher power told me, like, really? How dare you? How dare you? You know what I'm saying? He was like, your house? Really? And I had to say, okay, HP, I understand what you're saying. So immediately, my husband got in his truck. He went to Brooklyn, got my mother out there Radley Behind Hospital, and brought her to East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. We put her in a hospice facility And when I came home from work that night, I stopped there. And my mother got jokes, y'all. She was something, okay? I rolled up in there, I said, how you like it? She said, who paying for this? I said, Mommy, you got insurance. I said, you good. She's like, oh, what's a nice damn place then? Thank you. So I said, you okay? They treating you okay? You know what I'm saying? And she was like, yeah, I said, okay. I said, okay. You know what I mean? So is there anything you need? And I went to see her every day. You know what I mean? I was allowed because where I had her located was not that far from my home. You know what I mean? So when it got to the point where, you know, she could no longer stay there, that it was her time to transition, we were allowed to bring her home. You know what I'm saying? And I see, this is when I knew what type of man I had. Because he took care of my mother for me when I went to work. Every day. Every day. He made sure the nurses was on point. He made sure she got her medication. You know what I mean? He fed her strawberries. You know, he had her room, the same room that she slept in when she came. You know what I'm saying? To spend, you know, every weekend with us, every other weekend with us when she was well. That's where she was at. You know what I'm saying? And the hardest thing I had to do was to tell her that it was okay for her to go.
That's right.
Because she did not want to leave me. And then she actually didn't want to leave her 6 grandchildren because my brother left 6 kids here. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, Mommy, it's okay. Because I don't want to, I said, it's okay. Because see, when I looked down in that bed, my mother was no longer my mother. She was just a shell. She had already made her transition, so I needed to make peace with that, and I was okay. I didn't wake up at night screaming and hollering because I didn't do right by my mother. You know what I'm saying? Me and my mother had a tight relationship from the time I got clean, from the time until the time she left here, and I was okay with that. You know what I mean? You know, so, man, let me tell you, this is a rough program here, man. You know what I'm saying? And then that year that I lost my mom, all hell was just breaking loose, like right behind me, T. It was like I lost my mom, you know, February 26th of 2012, 2 days before her 68th birthday, because her birthday would have been February 28th. Then I got another call that one of my cousins down in Florida had just died. Then her mother died. You know, and then my favorite aunt, because you know we all got some favorite aunts in here, you know what I'm saying? You know, and like my favorite aunt, like I got a call when I was down when I was down here a couple of years back. My cousin was up in Brooklyn. And I'm like, what are you doing up here? You know, and she said, are you by yourself? And I'm like, no. Why? And she said, I got something to tell you. And I was like, what is it? And she said, I'm not gonna tell you, I'm gonna let Mommy tell you.
We can't
and my aunt Alice got on the telephone and she said, I got cancer. I said, nah, not again. I went to HP. I'm like, you know what, I'm tired. Like, how much more of this can I take? I'm tired. Like, you're taking all my people away from me. You know what I mean? Because my Aunt Alice was the one I went to all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, she was my number 2 on the paper. Like, if something was to happen or I couldn't get there, I gave her the responsibility to take care of my mother. And now she was being taken away from me too. And it hurt, man. It really, really hurt. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, okay. All right, HP. I said, so now my little G-string panties became big girl drawers. They became big girl drawers. You know what I'm saying? Because see, now you're talking about death consistently. Now what? What am I going to do? Am I going to use? No. I'm 54 years old. I don't have another run in me, man. I'm not doing it. Okay? And from what I understand, tail don't really have the value it used to have on the streets now. Okay? Now, you know what I'm saying? It don't have the value it used to have back in the day. You know what I'm saying? You can't run up on somebody and think you're gonna give them some coochie and rob them. You be dead. You know what I'm saying? That ain't going around no more. So I'm like, all right, HP. Everybody is dead. You know, shoulder for everybody. I can do what I have to do now. You know what I'm saying? And I'm okay. You know, but I have a mother-in-law in this process too. A woman who can't stand me, y'all. Can't stand me. Can't stand me. But what is required is respect.
That's right.
See, I don't care if you don't like me. It's good because I'm not married to you. But see, it wasn't always like that. You know, because me and her used to be tight, you know, back in the day. You know, and but now we have a mutual respect and admiration for one another. You know, she calls my house, you know, and you know, and sometimes when she wears out her welcome, I have a little thing that I have a little thing on my phone called Call Intercept, baby. Okay, see, Call Intercept will block anything you don't want to deal with. Because see, I have an option today. See, I don't have to volunteer or be no victim for any abuse today.
That's right.
Male, female, rat, cat, dog. I don't have to. I love my sponsor to death, but if she say something left, I love her, but I have to get with her.
Yeah.
You know? You know? But I'm going to tell you what, though. Sponsorship has its privilege, y'all. Sponsorship is like my American Express card. I use it on a regular basis. And just because I have the time that I have, don't mean that I don't need no sponsor.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I've had sponsees in this process, you know what I'm saying? Some used. I boo-hooed. I'm like, okay, next. Because, see, I can't keep you clean. I can't. I can only give you what I have. I'm not going to baby you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a lending institution. I'm not SunTrust. I'm not Bank of America. I'm not Wells Fargo.
That's right.
Okay? No, none of that. You know? Sponsor, that's what I am. I will sponsor you. It's not a requirement that I like you.
Right.
It's not a requirement that you like me. Okay? The bottom line is a sponsor is to guide you through the 12 steps and 12 traditions of Narcotics Anonymous. They ain't here to co-sign your stuff. But they are here to take your inventory.
Ooh.
And see, some people don't like that.
Go ahead.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? Because see, I've had sponsors that told me, like, you know something now, you know you was wrong.
Yeah.
And I'd be ready to fight. But on the flip side of that, is the same way you take mine, I can take yours.
That's right.
And I ain't got no problem calling you out. I don't have no problem calling you out. If you slept with somebody's husband, I can tell you that you was wrong and that you was foul. But I can also put your ass on notice, though. You might have slept with her, but please don't try it here because I'm not that well in that area. I'm really not.
You better share.
You know what I'm saying? Like jail ain't my story. You know, like my best friend that's in Plainfield, New Jersey. You know, me, I always have a standing drug. So I always keep $5,000, you know what I'm saying, in the bank for me at all times. If I can't get to the bank for myself. She goes, why? I said, because you know your girl. She was like, yeah, I know. You know what I mean? Because see, today, what's mine is mine, and what's yours is yours.
That's right.
I don't cross that line with yours. I'll share some stuff with you. I'll share my food with you. You know what I mean? You need a place to stay. I'll share that. But I'm not sharing my man with you. Not today.
That's right.
Not today. Not today. And he looked good too. Now he believes. Hey, look, we clean up well with him.
Yeah, we do.
That's right.
But I'm not talking about him cleaning up in the physical aspect. See, he cleaned up well spiritually. He cleaned up so well that he became the man I always wanted. Am I right? Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, he became the man like I always wanted him to be. You know what I'm saying? Because when it was came time for me to retire, for us to, move down here, you know what I mean? Like, my pension wasn't rolling yet. You know what I'm saying? And he turned around and he told me, Jackie, he said, what you worried about before I got you, boo-boo?
That's right.
See, I'm not used to that. I'm used to always working and, putting my little, squirrel fun on the side and having my own stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because, see, I like to shop, y'all. I ain't no shopaholic, but I like to shop. I like nice shit. I'm sorry. But at the same time, when I go out there and shop, I know that bill is due too. So see, I pay my bills today. I don't have the credit card man calling my house for my job. If I can't pay for it, I don't buy it. I don't buy it. But now when my bills come, write the check. Matter of fact, I'm so cold with it now, you can take it because it's there. And you know what? I'm just really thankful, to GRCNA for, for having me here, sharing at the 35th convention. Like I'm grateful, for Tanya that she asked me. Because I was going to say no. I was going to come here and have me a good time and just kind of like chill. I'm grateful. I'm grateful, man, that, like when I got here, like, because my sponsor was already picked for me before I got here. She was already picked for me before I got here. That's HP. See, my sponsor don't play no games. She tell you don't blow no smoke up her ass because she's not Dorothy from the Wizard of Oz, and this is not Kansas. Straight up. Straight up. But I love my sponsor, man. I love her to death, man. Love her to death. You know what I mean? And she is just, like a wonderful person, you know what I'm saying? And and sometimes, like, we put our sponsors on a pedestal. And I don't put her on no pedestal because she's an addict just like me. You know what I'm saying? But as far as a woman is concerned, when I grow up, man, if I can be half the woman my sponsor is in this process, with her dignity, with her character, then I'm all right. If you new to Narcotics Anonymous, welcome. If you old and you playing, then you playing your damn self. Straight up. And I just really, really, love, what this program has given to me. You know what I mean? And I'm just really, really, really grateful. Because we come in here, broken people, broken to pieces, coming here trying to find ourselves and trying to find a new way of life. And then we get here, and then we get lost because something happens in the translation. Please use the steps, my sisters. Don't use the elevator. Work them to the best of your ability. Because how they are now, they might not be for you in a couple of years. Because you don't work the steps once and you graduate. Now, because for the ones who graduate, they ask yous. You know what I'm saying? So, and with that, I'll turn it back over to Miss Jackie. And I'm a grateful addict named Heidi. And thank you for allowing me to share.
All right, now we're going to turn it over to Tanya here.
Hi, family. I'm Tanya, the Blessed Recovering Addict.
Hey, Tanya!
And it's so funny because Northerners, when we share, we got to stand up.
There you go. We was talking about
That's
that.
how you can tell.
That's what we was talking.
Let me know, oh shit, something getting ready to happen. I love this topic. This topic talks about adding to our story. And I find it so befitting for my story right now. You know, I want to first thank Gretna. And the reason why I want to thank Gretna is because last year I posed to Gretna because I noticed that Gretna was the only convention that didn't have a woman's rap and a men's rap. And I knew it was so important because I do travel a lot through NA, and like there is an importance for that convention. Like a moment when we all can come from all walks of life and come together and share one common experience, and that experience is just being a woman. Just being a woman in recovery. Now when I came through Heidi, we didn't have special interest groups. No, we did. We had two. We had the woman and we had illness and recovery. Because at one point, everything was not meant to share in the mainstream meeting. But when I came through, we shared everything in the mainstream. We didn't hide out in secret groups because it talks about we are a society of men and women for whom drugs became a problem. Now, we all got a major problem with drugs. That's what they told me. And that anybody was welcome here regardless of your age, your race, your creed, your religion, your lack of religion, who your connections were. We don't even care about your past. All we want to know is about your problem and how can we help. And the newcomer, yeah, you're the most important person here, but you're not the only important person. I want to say we all important. You know, because there, but for the grace of God, go out. You know, the suffering addict may be you today and me tomorrow. And that's why they tell us, like, don't get caught up on our clean time. You know, because there's some areas I don't have experience in. I'm a newcomer to it. My clean date is February 25th, 1991. I came in here when I was 25 years old. I'll be retiring this year from my job after 29 years, and I look forward to retirement. I want to tell you how I got there. I'm talking about when I came here, there was nothing but dope fiends here. They had them big hands. They didn't play with us. And you know, I was a crackhead. 25 years old, and I had to ask myself, like, how did I get here? Like, I knew why y'all were here, but I couldn't understand how I was here at 25. And they told me to learn to listen and listen to learn, and we'll tell you. And you're right, Heidi, they didn't let the newcomers do a whole lot of talking. You know, sometimes, newcomers, when you start talking, right? Now, I don't want you to take it out of context, so I'm going to make sure I say it real clear. You know, when we out in the street, we talk a lot of game. We're great manipulators of the truth.
Say so.
So when you can explain how somebody that just got here is going to tell somebody that's been here how it works here, we can say, we'll be here when your ass get back here.
Yeah, and that's if you make it back.
See, and the reason why I say that is because, you know, we come in here with a lot of habits. Yes. You know, you had to lie out there. You had to trick. You had to tell stories to get what you want. You know, and we had to pretend to know things that we didn't know. Because if we didn't, you know, the wolves would eat us. But when I came into this fellowship, man, there were some women and men, when I tell you they loved us, they loved us. Not like today. Some of y'all some mean.
Say it.
So I'm going to tell you throughout this whole story, like, be kind. Because there, but for the grace of God, go out. You know, it ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun. You know. I'm just trying to do God's will. I'm like, God, really? Do you really want me to go there?
Yeah. It's okay, T. I love you.
I'm going to pick up from you. You know, I want to talk about being a woman. My first introduction to sex was through a rape. I got raped at 10 years old. And he proceeded to take his penis and put it in my mouth, my vagina, and in my anus. That was my introduction. See, I don't have that fairy tale that says, oh, my first. So you know what I did, right? I created a story. And I kissed a lot of frogs until I thought I found my handsome prince.
Come on now.
See, I don't know about y'all. I still wait for the one that's going to gallop and come on down and save the damsel in distress. I don't know about you.
That's right. Come on now.
I still see myself running on the beach. Them grabbing my hair, my weed. And them lifting me up and laying me on the beach in the sand and taking me to a place I've never been. It's called love.
All right. Make it plain.
Am I by myself? I'm talking about curling up with a book that I want to be reality. Because that's what y'all tell me. That's the key to success and happiness, right? That's all we supposed to want. You can't want more. So my first handsome prince was someone who I grew up at 10. We were together from 10 to 33. And believe it or not, we never used together. And I could create this story. I could do this whole long drawn monologue, but he went to jail, and I wound up going to treatment. I first got clean at 20. At 20, I was an addict. It was over for me. You know, I smoked weed, smoked crack, did crack for 3 months. I think I did it in June. I was in treatment by September. See, I'm the first ever the crackhead. Ain't know what to do with us. But one of the things I learned in there, because I was young, and I had a high school diploma, so because I had my high school diploma, they gave me an option to go to adult facility or child facility, and I chose the adult, and I'm grateful that I did, because those old timers, the older people there said, listen, if you can get this, get it. You don't have to have my story. I remember being in treatment, and this woman named Margaret Birmingham, she was a petite little woman, little black woman, dope fiend, you know, sharp, because back then them dope fiends were sharp. Them women dressed their asses off. And I mean, she was sharp from top to bottom, and she, you know, she had that walk, you know, and you could see that dignity and respect she had. And she said something to me in treatment while I was there, and she said, Tanya, you're the type of person that you'll be sitting in the corner. You know, you're the type of person that would save everybody in this room. And you'll be sitting in the corner, and people will walk right past you, and they'll say, you know what? That's all right. She'll be all right. And you'll be dying. See, I don't know what it is that make y'all think I'm Wonder Woman, I'm Superwoman, that somehow I'm exempt from this program that I won't use like you. Don't take my strength as a sign that I'm recovered. Because if you read the literature, none of us is recovered. But if you want what I have to offer, and if you're willing to make the effort to get it, then I'll tell you how I did it. I have a sponsor, she say all the time, when I tell you who I am, will you still love me? She shares it all over around the world. She said, when I tell you, and I didn't understand what she said, so I'm going to say it again. So for those who didn't hear it, I want you to hear it again. When I tell you who I am, are you still going to love me? How do you come into a program where you got the scum of scum, the low of low, and we sitting here and we judge each other? How dare you? What is it that I got that you think that you can't get? Right. When I came around, when it was something that we didn't have, I'm telling you what they did. When you had what I wanted, all I had to do was ask you. We didn't do, she. How can you idolize a junkie just like you? What is it in your self-esteem that tell you that I'm better than you? That's been my experience basically all my life. My story is not your story. Your story is not my story. Now I'm going to tell you what we identify. We identify with pain. I don't know from which rock you crawl from. But I know if you made it here, it's a hard journey. Last year was the hardest year I had in recovery. So I'm going to tell my story. You know, last year I had to deal with a couple of things. I have a husband that's in recovery. And I'm not here to tell his story. I'm going to tell Tanya's story. And unfortunately, if you're a part of my story, it's going to get told.
Come on, T. Make that plain.
You know, I've been with my husband for 13 years. The first one that I told you, my knight in shining armor, that I was with for 23 years, was from age 10 to 33. We met up again when I was 20 years old, got out of treatment. And I stayed with him because, you know, he's going to make this Harlequin romance for me, you know. And I dated an older guy, but he was older than me, and I didn't know that Viagra was going to come out, so I left him. But I want to tell you something. He was good to me. See, he took me from crayons to perfume. But I didn't want that. I was 25. When I got to Narcotics, and I knew him when I got in treatment, and like he wanted to go home after the event. You know, I was 25. I had to show off my outfit. My home met on Fridays. You know, so you know what that meant? Party time. You know. But he gave me stability. But the other one gave me a thrill. He used to take me to places that no man has ever gone, called space. I don't know if you can identify with that. Like, you know what's good for you, but you know what you want. Like some of the things that some of y'all are experiencing right now. Like, you know he ain't leaving his wife. And that's not my story either, Heidi.
That's right. That's right. Tell him, boo.
But you only get them on the weekend. But you want more. But something told you when he got with you, it was going to be so different. I remember being with the first one. I remember.
About a chair.
Okay, then.
Fucking chair. Chair, come on, sit down.
Let it go.
Keep down back.
Yeah, you do it too. Don't do that. See, that's what I'm saying. We just gotta pray and not instigate.
That's
That's
right. That's right.
We don't know.
Right.
We don't know. Let's stay
Respect.
focused. Let's stay focused. And I remember he was the love of my life. And I was in NA for about 10 years. I stayed clean for like 10 years, but one of the things y'all told me, stay away from people, places, and things. And my mate couldn't get clean. But I stayed clean. And with me staying clean and him out there using, you know, I figured I would be safer being with him than to deal with somebody in rooms in Narcotics Anonymous, because I was scared of those dope females. I heard their stories. And so when I got with him, I made a decision that I was going to be this special woman, the one who don't leave their man. You know, some of us, you know, we think it's a shame to leave somebody that's not going anywhere. And sometimes you got to let go or you're going to be dragged. See, that's what they told us back in the day. Let go or you too will be dragged. And so I went to work every day. And I went home to him, and even though I know he was active, you know, he was like from New York, you know, like built like that. And you can tell with me, you can't deal with nobody that's a punk. Okay. You know. Because it take a hell of a man to fuck with a girl like me. I'm going to tell you right now. I'm telling you. And I remember getting with him, and I remember staying with him. And I remember I was getting ready to have a baby. And the doctor called me into the thing, and he said, Tanya, something we got to talk about. I was like, Doc, what you want to talk about? He said, I want to tell you. I said, well, he was having a difficult time to tell me. I said, Doc, what you trying to say? What you trying to say? That's what you trying to say. He couldn't even say it. So what you trying to say? Positive? He said, yeah, Tanya, you try to be positive. I said, positive. This don't happen to girls like me. Like, I'm not a street girl. Like, I'm loyal. Wait a minute, I stayed with one man with fresh downy sheets. I mean, a lot of guys in recovery that I really wanted to get with. Okay. But I was afraid. See, the poison wasn't out in the rooms. The poison was in my home. See, anything that you put higher than your higher power. All right. Because you're going to have that moment. I don't know about y'all, but I've had that moment. I've had that moment where you know what, I can't breathe. I can't eat. I can't pick up the phone. I can't call nobody. All I can say is, help. And I called the God. Like, what happened? Something happened to somebody with a college degree, good job. Like, all these things, you got the wrong person. You must mean somebody else. He said, no, it's you. It's you. Woo. And I struggled and I asked him why. And the answer didn't come right then and there because what he was helping me to do was fight for my life. Because my will was gone. I did not want to exist. Now, I had sponsees that had the virus, right? And I'd be like, oh, poor baby. You be all right. And I'd be like, whew, thank God it ain't me. Now it's my turn. Now what? And God had a conversation with me. He said, listen, you're not going to die. And I want to tell you that because I had the job that I had, my mate threatened, because he was an active addict. He knew it was over. I was leaving. And he threatened to tell my job if I didn't give him money. So I knew I was going to eradicate the problem. I made a decision, and the decision was I was going to kill him, and then I was going to kill myself. I was legal to carry. And God said, no, baby, you ain't going to do that. I said, okay, I'm going to jump out the window. Because I want to tell you, when I found out, and he finally knew that the truth was out, he knew eventually I would get my strength. And as soon as after all the craziness come out, that something about me, right? Because remember what the counselor told me, like, Tanya, you know, you're going to be all right because you superwoman. And that if I jump out the window, and I told my sister what my thoughts were, and she said, you know, you having the type of person that you are, you the type that will jump out the window, break all your bones, be in a wheelchair, can't talk, but God gonna keep you with your brain, and then you're gonna be sitting there, because my parents live in the project, and you're gonna be sitting there seeing that motherfucker with that girl, you're gonna be like, and she was probably right. And so I made a decision. Me and God made a decision. God said, you talk about no matter what. I said, God, just tell me, what do I do? Because I really didn't want to die. I just didn't know how to live now. Because my life had changed. I added to my story. And God said, well, first of all, we're going to prepare a place for you. Pack all your things up, because you can't stay here. Because you know one thing about when you come in recovery, you stay consistent, you develop a consistent habit, and people know that you're consistent. So I'm going to work, can't just leave work like that. I had a child that I had to raise. I sent her down here to Georgia because I was going to kill him. So I didn't want her to go into defects custody, so I kept her with family, and I already knew what I was going to do. But funny things happened along the way to recovery. And I got through that. I want to speed up the story so that I can get to the other part to tell you exactly where I'm at that added to the story of last year. So then, years later, and I want to tell you, as you notice, I did get through it, and I did date. I want to tell y'all something, especially the ones that creep inside the rooms of Narcotics. I want to tell you something because it's real important, and I share my story because it's real important that women understand that. Sometimes you think you want what somebody else has, and you better be very, very careful because you might get what they always got. You understand what I'm saying? And you can add to your story if you choose to. You better thank God and stop silencing these women in these rooms where they get to the point where they believe that the only person they can share with is with their sponsor, and they don't tell you their truth.
Right.
Because that's what you force a lot of people to say, I'm not sharing that shit no more. They said, Tom, you're a better person than me to share your story. You be sharing, oh, that's right. Because I understand who I represent and who I am. And I know whose I am, and I'm God's child. And I don't care who you are, no weapon formed against whoever prospers. You understand? I know why I'm here. And I remember God told me, he said, listen, Tanya, if I gave what I gave to you to the prostitute, they ain't gonna listen. But if I show them somebody like you, somebody who's a college grad who got a good job, all that shit that we think makes us happy, right?
Yeah.
Then maybe they might say, If I say the one that can articulate well, because if I got the one that got, y'all ain't gonna listen. Right. So I'm gonna get somebody that can speak in a language that's universal that we all can hear. Like you can add to your story in recovery. And I remember him preparing the place, and I got to Georgia. And when I came here down to Georgia, like I tried to share in a meeting down here, some meeting off a pond. And I guess they wasn't ready for my New York sharing. And when I shared, they was like, keep coming. They didn't know what to say to me. And I don't know about you. You ever see like when you're in a world and it's like this? And I said, I ain't going back there. So what God said is that because I know you won't go there, I'm going to take you to another place. Because now I have to meet you the spirit. So I went to that spiritual place, and then you don't have to ask, you don't have to tell your story, you don't have to do all that. All you got to do is connect with me, because see, this relationship that I'm talking about, the only way I got through it is through him. And you will connect at some point. My God takes me to the valley, and I always share the story about the valley. The valley is the part between two mountains. Here's a mountain, here's a mountain. The valley, that's the lowest point. That's where God can talk to you. And you know what? When I'm going to the valley, I should be like, oh God, please don't take me to the valley, because I knew what the valley meant. Can't breathe, can't think, and you down there. He's like, do I have your attention now? And then when you get down there, but listen, I'll tell you today, I love the valley. Yes. Because the valley is where I hear his voice and what my mission is. Right. See, so I'm not afraid to go to the valley. Okay? So when I get down to the valley and I get the lesson, right, all of a sudden I'm coming back up the valley, because one thing about my God, he's a merciful and forgiving God. And he said, Tanya, we're going to try it again. And then he told me, so before when he used to say, you like that, breathe. And this year he told me, Tanya, I'm going to take you to the valley. And I started crying. I said, God, what did I do? You told me to go carry the message. I was carrying the message. You told me to help the sick and suffer. He said, yeah, Tanya, you did all that. But I need, can I just spend some time with you? I want to tell you, good job, my daughter. All right. Wow. I want to tell you what I told you last year. I told you I talked about a husband that I have, and my husband. I met my husband 13 years ago at a funeral, and I still love my husband till today. But the journey is over. That chapter is over. You know, I prayed for my husband to come in. He's been here. My husband is not positive. He's loved me from the day that I've come inside here. But my husband is disrespectful. I didn't work all these years on being who I am. Now, it's bad enough I tell y'all, I tell them when I come home sometimes from meeting, and sometimes it's kind of difficult being in recovery and have a mate in recovery. Because sometimes people can't come through you because they know better than to come through me, so they'll come through him, the weakest link. And see, he don't have the strength enough to arm himself against the wolves that's coming for him. You understand? And see, he got his own issues. And because you have your own issues with me, you feed them what they need to hear. So if you want to see, I understand, I'm a giraffe. And I understand, listen, don't take it personal. This is my story. I understand that there's some turtles. And I'm a giraffe. And giraffes can't fuck with turtles. Because I will never be a turtle. I am a giraffe. Because Narcotics Anonymous told me that. Yeah. Y'all told me that my lost dreams were found, new horizons awake, and I could be anything that I want to be. And I worked over 25 years to be where I am. And just because my story is not your story, my pain is not your pain, does not mean that I think I'm better than you. Yeah. That's what you think. All I'm here to do is to carry the message and not the message. Control is impossible the moment I suggest it. So guess what? When you clean and you crazy, I gotta listen. I don't know how many of y'all heard the speaker last night, and he talked about how you love people so much you want them to get it, and you hope they don't go through what you went through. But I'm gonna tell you something. There's some people that say, "No, I want to go through this pain." And guess what you got to do? You got to love them enough to let them go. So I don't look at the one that says Shane is cheating with the married man. I'm like, hi, as long as you ain't fucking with mine. But tell me, how do you deal with that when you have people coming at you? Spirit, like you want to practice some spiritual principles. But your right to do what the fuck you want to me ends where my right begins. And I have a right to come into the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous and to be able to be in an environment that's an atmosphere called recovery. I have a right to be able to share my experience, strength, and hope and listen to your experience, strength, and hope, right? And we have a right to agree on being disagreeable, but one thing we won't do is be disrespectful. I think a lot of these women in here, and it ain't just because you're saying, yeah, most of y'all know and watch how I walk. Because I understand, you are not my problem. You are not my problem. I'm my problem.
That's right.
And I'm not yours. That's right. And you know, I had another young lady, you know, and I'm going to share this story because I hope she listened to the tape. I had a young lady that transplanted down here. I treated her kind. You know, when somebody get here, you open up and you extend your home to them. And you were disrespectful in my home. You trying to fuck my husband. Because he reminds you of your ex-husband. The fish that got away. And see, he's disrespectful because he ain't gonna bust a grape. At least to my knowledge. And the reason why, because I had to confront him, I said, look, let me tell you something. My beef ain't with her, my beef is with you. That's right. And I'm saying to him, like, I know what habits we have. I know what we do. If you want to step out there and possibly cause harm to somebody else's life, then you go ahead. And sometimes you can't avoid what another person got to go through. Keep checking this. Keep trying to fuck somebody else's husband around here. And I had to walk with dignity and grace no matter what because we don't fight with her. But what do you do when somebody's outright disrespectful? And then they call you and say, oh, I'm sorry if there was any kind of misunderstanding or mishap or whatever. Ain't no fucking misunderstanding. It's just that I got spiritual principles. And I'm going to practice them with your ass. And I'm going to give you a pass because maybe you didn't know, even though I know you know, because you've been married before, you know how that might make you feel. And it has nothing to do with jealousy. I don't care how cute you are, you can be ugly as hell on the inside.
That's right.
Beauty's only skin deep, but ugly to the fucking bone.
That's right.
You ever come to a convention someplace, tell the truth, and you see a dude with a girl, you be like, what the fuck? Or a guy might see you and say, what the fuck is she doing with that ugly girl? Because we understand it's deeper than that.
Right.
Baby, beauty fades at some point. The muscles are going to go.
That's right. That's right.
And let me tell you something, the sex is going to go too. At some point, you better have something more in common than what you have in the bed. When you put those 2 feet on the floor, it better be some substance because you're going to go through stuff in life. Let me tell you something, I tell you today, my husband today, like I said, I told him the whole story. Get ready in. I told my husband the whole story about who I am. And he's loved me from the day I walked through that door. And I love him. But I also love him enough to let him go. mature. See, he blames me for why he is who he is. Baby, you came damaged. One thing I can say, I'll tell you what he left with though. He left with a lifestyle that's second to none. He had a beautiful home. We traveled around the world together. Thank God. Thank you to Narcotics Anonymous and our own personal endeavors. My husband came down with a GED. He graduated last year, the year before, magna cum laude with his bachelor's degree. He's doing really well. Instead of having an old car, he went and bought him a brand new car because, listen, he deserves that. And he deserves to experience life. Even if life is not without me. And I love him enough to let him go. I'm going to say it again. I love him enough to let him go. And so, this year, my thanks for my husband was I go into a meeting, and it's the same chick. It's our anniversary. Now, I told you the conversation me and her had. And I told you about the one me and him had. So it's no longer about me because I've spoken to you. And guess who is her speaker? My husband. So now you're disrespectful. And I was saying, am I going to show her what 24 years really like? Or I'm going to show her who I really am? I had a choice. And what I did is I sat through that. I sat through his disrespect and hers too. So now you can't even come to me with a hug. Because I'm going to tell you where my growth is. My growth is that I still see her and I would hug her. Now you can't even get a hug. You can't even get a hello. Because you're outright defining disrespectful. And so when I get in there and I'm sitting in the meeting, he says, you know, I've used women all my life. But when their voice becomes louder than mine, it's time to go. But he didn't share the other part of the story that his boxes was packed because I told him he had enough and I was giving him to the first to leave. It was September the 30th. So he had to make it seem like he doing some slick shit. I want to say in closing, if anybody's been down here for the past 4 months, you've seen me with my husband. Because you may be talking strong. Then they get on the phone. Can I come back home? Yeah. Absolutely not.
That's right.
I love my husband. And I'm going to miss him. But I love myself. Okay. And then I'm finished and we'll open up the floor. There were other powerful examples that showed me that you can stay in here with dignity and grace. And I want to tell you that I'm not divorcing my husband because of that incident. That might be the icing on the cake. I'm divorcing him because I deserve better. I didn't come in this program to work hard in order for you to tear me down. I don't care, just like I met you, because I want to tell you sometimes the disease will stop you. And I'm not talking just that disease of addiction, but also the other disease will stop you and say, really, it's better to have them and not need them than to need them and not have them. But the thing is that recovery tells us that, you know what, there's someone for everyone to trust God. That's right. And so guess what? When I see her, I will still love her. I will love her from a distance. Yes. You want it, you can have her. but it wasn't because of her. So I want to make sure that's real clear, because you know it's going to go back. The final thing I just want to end out with is that the last thing that happened in recovery is that after 20-something years, and I can't talk about it legally, I got arrested. I tried to the best of my ability to avoid the situation, but sometimes things happen. And the tools that we are given in here, it's not that they don't work. I just didn't have it. I just didn't have the tools that day. And I will remember the resounding thing that other person said to me. I got your job. Wow. And you going to jail. I went to jail, but you're not going to get my job. So the answer's in the steps. How do I stay here? I stay here because you love me. Yep. I want to thank you for the prayers. I want to thank you for the hugs. I want to thank you for the support. Yeah. I want to thank you for all the women who came to me. And listen, I also want to thank you for all the women who didn't come. Because I'll probably still be there. Yeah. Because this is a life and death program. Yeah. So I want to say to you, be kind. Be kind to each other. Funny things happen on the road to recovery. Yeah. Listen to people's stories. You're a phenomenal woman. I'm watching you. And you're going to be a hell of a messenger. I love you. Thank you for allowing me to share.